Welcome to Rauta's Reviews. This one is a video of disappointment. Not only by one meaning, but two. Let's start with the first one. But before we go on, it's time to show you what we have here. This one is, as you can already figure out, Satyricon Deep, Calleth Upon Deep, Norwegian black metal album from these legends that have existed already for almost 30 years. And this is the latest album with a nice little painting. So, disappointment. Number one is you're not probably going to like this video. First of all, if you love the band, it would be good time to just click pause right now. And the disappointment number two is this album ain't that good. But before we get into the music, so those that haven't yet heard the album, let's take a look. So what we have here is a very debated cover. In my opinion, when I saw this cover already a few months ago, I thought that this one is one ugly son of a bitch. The thing is that while the theme here is kind of great, Kiss of Death, and it's a classical painting by Edvard Munch or Munch. I'm not sure how it's going to be pronounced, but let's not stick to that. The thing is, this is the very same famous painter who, did the painting with the Scream or Shout or whatever. Scream, I guess. Anyway, yeah, they have a classical image and they have a nice theme. But why pick an ugly motherfucker as this one as the album cover? Now the album name is also something deeper, which I'm not gonna explain here. You can Google it up if you want to, but still, these are all kind of pointers, which kind of make me think that they knew I'm in the band, that they were not gonna do their best album so far. There might be many reasons for that, but first of all, let's take a look at this album. So, inside we have lyrics, which is always great. We have more lyrics, and do I need to go on? It's all just, more lyrics, and then the cool lineup, Sarah and Frost, drums and vocals and lead guitar, and the all the explanation of how it was conceived and whatnot. Then inside the CD we have this tray, which is basically more the same and very kind of a minimalistic background with the track list. Now the style, how this was put out, cover wise and all that stuff, this ain't new. It was, I think it was started with Rebel Extravaganza almost 20 years ago, which feels like a huge lot of time by now. But the thing is, that was the turning point of the band's career, music-wise and whatnot. But I'm not gonna go deeper into that because we already did this kind of opinion video about Satyricon's fall from grace. It's all explained there, all my opinions are there, so I'm not wasting time there. I'm just gonna state that how this album looks, feels, and all that was kind of a warning sign for me. Basically, the same thing that, in nature, the colorful animals and plants. If it looks like it's danger ahead, it usually is. And unfortunately, this ugly cover kind of tells it all. It's the worst Satyricon album so far. So, the thing is with me that I've been a Satyricon fan of sorts for, I don't know, some 20 years or so. I just kind of love the first three albums. I think they're just good, or more like great. Nemes Divina, one of the best albums from Norway ever. The last few Satyricon albums, starting with Now Diabolical, um, they weren't exactly the type of albums I was expecting from this, kind of a veteran name in the second wave black metal, what Satyricon is all about. And the last two ones were especially sort of disappointments for me, being a long time fan and all that stuff. It felt like the band was already kind of using leftovers from their previous albums to, put up a full-length album that would, be worthy enough to carry Satyricon's name. They were quite okay, but to be honest, I don't have them on my CD shelf. In my ears, and I just listened to them recently, they just don't hold the weight of the name. So, I didn't have much expectations for Deep Calleth Upon Deep, and still I was disappointed. And the thing is that this maybe needs a little bit of explanation. Those who have been drinking booze, we used to kind of steal booze from our parents. There was a bottle of clear alcohol, vodka or whatever, and you could just, basically, take some of it, put it in a different bottle and just replace the stuff you took with water. It would look the same and all that stuff. Nobody would notice the difference, just not by looking at the bottle anyway. So, it was diluted alcohol in the very essence. Now, I think Satyricon did that a couple of times already with past two albums. And now with Deep Calleth Upon Deep, it seems that they just, forgotten that they were, stealing already from the very bottle a couple of times before. Now they don't have what it was like, 50% vodka, 50% water anymore, but more like 20-80 or something. That with yet another, 50% or more water. What does it lead to? Yeah, basically bad tasting water, and that is what Deep Calleth Upon Deep is. Now, let me explain why I think the way I do. The thing is that while this album has definitely certain Satyricon or Satyriconish feeling when it comes to riffs, vocals, drum work, or even the production, it all feels very diluted. Satyr's voice is not what it used to be. It's still decent, it's totally tolerable, but it's not something I would, look up into as I did before. When albums like Nemes Divina and all that kind of stuff, came out, I'm like, man, this is one of the best black metal voices ever. But things rarely go unchanged. Now, the riffs, which have always been the potato and steak of the whole music, it feels like it's gone. There are similarities with these riffs, but it feels like more like a cover band doing Satyricon-ish riffs and trying to put them together with glue and duct tape and whatnot. And to me it feels like, well, there are clearly like some individual good moments, not something I can, put my fingers on, but if I were listening to the music, I'd be like, yeah, this is pretty okay riff. But it's not like something like, there's like full good song, like, oh yeah, the rest is shite, but listen to the track 4. That is what happened in the previous album, with tracks like Phoenix. You could just, easily pick that album and take 1 or 2 songs out of it and say, yeah, it's not too shabby an album, but I like this track. Nothing that is happening here. Unfortunately for me and people who are like-minded. I know that this album is already splitting opinions. People are basically fighting over. Some already, put on my Satyricon Fall from Grace video, like topic, oh, you stupid, you don't know nothing about this, you haven't evolved, whatever, stupid comments. The thing is, this is dividing people. I've noticed already in my Facebook and whatnot. The thing is, some people love this and they are totally fine with it, and it's cool. If you like it, all the good for you, all the kudos, all the stuff. I would have preferred liking this. I would have been so joyful to be honest and say that this is one of the top albums of the year. But I'm disappointed. And like I said, it doesn't have the feeling, it doesn't have the riffs, it doesn't have the vocals, it doesn't have basically anything what Satyricon was when it had its peak moments. And even the production sounds kind of lazy. It felt like, oh, we just don't want to finish it. Oh, just get over with it. We just gonna get this album out so people can, come to our shows and buy our merchandise or whatever I have on my own wine brand and whatever. This is how I feel Saturday was thinking. First of all, like, oh, I'm just gonna, play these drums, I'm talented as fuck, and I can do it, whatever. But that album doesn't have the feeling. It basically has nothing to do with the previous Satyricon. I mean, like, if you take a look or listen on Dark Medieval Times or Shadow Throne, these are like two totally different bands. Even Nemesis Divina, I quite don't feel the same. Just with Rebel Extravaganza, when it started to go, the more kind of a industrial sound, or more like this mechanic, kind of a machine-like pounding and riffing and all that stuff. And it felt great because it reminded me of the Norwegian great band called Thorns. If you listen to these kind of feelings, you can almost feel like these death machines marching on, and yeah, this is maybe not so much about cold mountains and endless forests and these dark skies and whatever we have in the Scandic countries, the Nordic atmosphere, northern lights and all that stuff, but totally different. And it was fine because the songs were fine. And I think it lasted through Volcano and somewhat through Now Diabolic. But with this album, I don't hear anything, basically, anything of that greatness what used to be when I put Satyricon, CD or LP on my player, and I would like, oh man, this totally kills it. Now it feels like I have an album in my hands which is riding with this known name but doesn't deliver. And to top of this, it's also that this is one of the first, or maybe the first, Satyricon album which actually has really annoying elements in it, like on the title track, this kind of a background opera kind of singing. Ooh, what the hell? What was these guys doing and thinking? I mean, like, hell no. This kind of boring shit doesn't belong to this kind of music. Not in my opinion, anyway. If you disagree, feel free to do it. Write it down as a comment. I don't care. But in my opinion, this album has faulty moments more than the good ones. And now comes the twist. I still think this album is quite okay. This might be a bit bold statement now that I've been ranting on for I don't know how many minutes. But the thing is, this album isn't exactly that bad. It's okay-ish. It's maybe better than, just a total average, black metal release. But it's still a disappointment because I was expecting so much more. And I can, put aside those opera parts for a while. They don't dominate the album. And there are some, like I said, good drumming work and, some decent riffing here and there. So the overall feeling is not, it's like a disaster. But still, in my opinion, Calleth Upon Deep is still definitely the worst Satyricon album by now. I hope it will stay that way, and I hope the guys will, pick up and, get back to where they used to be, at least better than this one. But, like I said, I think I am not the only disappointment here. I think many years will just, find this album to be something not expected. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess I hope I am, because there's never too much good music in life. So that's all from Rauta. I'm not gonna go with thumb up or thumb down, because this album doesn't go neither ways. Anyway, feel free to comment. I'm expecting, or more like hoping for your comments. And if you like my video, please subscribe. That's over here, probably somewhere. And feel free to comment on Facebook or YouTube. Both ways are okay. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Say metal.